You're listening to Heroes in the Moment.
What's up, heroes? I'm Michael.
And I'm Nathan.
And today we're going to be discussing DCU's upcoming projects. So we talked about this, way back when Gunn announced a lot of these things. And now that Superman's come out, and Superman's been out for a couple weeks now and doing really well at the box office, we figured we'd bring it up again and talk about just these upcoming projects, what we're getting, and discuss our thoughts on them, and also add in a few that we'd like to see come out as well.
Yeah, I think, it's time to put on our binoculars, take a look at what ahead, not saying that we're doubtful. We trust James Gunn. Superman was a smash hit and it's performing really well. And that's awesome to see, that his universe is off to a great start. But, we're just taking a look ahead here and then just giving a couple projects that we would absolutely love to see in this DCU.
Yep, absolutely. So let's start off. We're just going to go through and talk about some of the ones that are coming up. Coming up quickest is going to be Peacemaker Season 2 coming out this August, next month. Here really quickly, what are our thoughts for Peacemaker?
I am excited for this. I've seen, the clips with James Gunn and him talking about, how people try to force their way into DC and how some stuff happened in season 1 that they're not considering canon.
Yeah, I
think
think
stuff with Ezra Miller and Aquaman and that stuff.
James Gunn's explanation of all of this is a little bit weird because his basics, what he said in his interview is saying that so anything after Creature Commandos that comes out is canon. Anything before is not canon until it is mentioned. And that it just feels a little bit weird and peculiar. But I get it. I guess that's the best explanation for him to keep his.
You gotta start somewhere.
For him to keep
and
his
it's
love
messy
projects.
anyway. Yeah.
Right.
Like I said, Peacemaker is kind of like really close to home for him.
Right, and stuff. So the Peacemaker Season 2, what he's saying is basically Peacemaker itself isn't fully, like you said, canon, but only parts that are in the DCU is going to be canon from now on, and that they're going to have a cool explanation of the multiverse in an element of Peacemaker's character, John, going into an alternate universe and maybe staying there, and that being the DCU universe, and explaining a lot of that. So it'll be interesting to see, and trailer recently come out talking about that, and it'll be cool to see how it's explained and stuff. And like, for example, Rick Flag Sr. being involved in wanting to go after Peacemaker for the death of his son, essentially making Peacemaker killing Rick Flag canon, but still, we're not sure if the Suicide Squad itself is canon yet. I don't know. So it's just it'll be interesting to see it when it does come out to fully understand like what is canon, what is not. Yeah. I think Peacemaker Season 2 will have a lot of explaining to do. But I'm excited for it nonetheless. I think a lot of people are. So I don't know.
I think it's gonna be hilarious.
Cast
absolutely. Is coming back from the trailers. I just think it's gonna be more of the same. Which I'm very excited for.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So the next thing that is slated to come out is the next movie. Of course, we had our first movie, the DCU, and Superman. So our next movie is going to be Supergirl, coming out next June 2026. I'm really excited for Supergirl. I really am.
Yeah. Everything, I hear critics and James Gunn talking about this movie like, dude, this one slaps. They're adapting that one Supergirl comic. She's down a little bit. She's resorting to some substances. She's partying. So I think this might be like a, not like a coming of age story, but like her realizing, her worth, what she has to do, and her finally like taking accountability and accepting the responsibility of what she has to do by the end of the movie.
I do like it because, it's based off the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic, which was really popular. And originally what the movie was called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, but it dropped to just Supergirl. I'm really excited. Like you said, I think it's got a lot of potential. I think it's going to be a very cosmic story from what I'm hearing. It's going to take place mostly in space. That's where, even though James Gunn isn't directing, and he usually flourishes in that kind of cosmic feel, with the Guardians of the Galaxy vibes, but he's not directing or writing this movie. He's just producing and, executive producing it. But still, it's really cool to see that, we're going to see the debut of Jason Momoa's Lobo as well, and Crypto returning, and some other cool characters across the board, which I'm really excited about. But like you said, I think it's going to be a smash hit. I'm really excited.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. All right. The next thing, we think it doesn't have an official release date, but we know it's coming out in 2026 for sure. Anyway, is Lanterns. This is probably the DCU project that I'm most excited for.
It's gonna have so much sauce.
I'm so excited for it. It was compared to True Detective.
Yeah, it has like some of the same showrunners.
Yeah.
And it's that trope I love where it's like an older, kind of jaded guy who's near retirement and then a young guy who's really eager to get it with not as much experience and they got a team together. I love that trope.
I
really
do too. I did too. And it's gonna be kind of like buddy cop, but James Gunn's not doing it, so I hope it's not very comedic. I hope it's very more serious in tone, similar to like True Detective, which would be really cool. But I'm mostly just really excited to see the debut of Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart in this, and of course Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion's also going to be in the show.
Yeah,
which I guess he'll bring the comedic side as well, and kind of going against maybe Sinestro and some other threats. I don't know how cosmic or street level this is going to be, but other than less, I do love the idea of them being like two detective cops, lanterns, space cop kind of things, protecting this world and both protectors of Earth. But I'm personally, this is probably my most looking forward to project that has been announced and it's coming for next year. I'm really looking forward to Lanterns.
Yeah, okay.
For sure. All right, the next thing that has been confirmed that is coming out next year, and I think it's has like an October or November 2026 release date, and that being Clayface.
Man, this one's going to be awesome. You know, like we said in our news, you know, this has officially been moved over to the DCU. You know, I imagine that they're still going to keep the rating, you know, pretty much everything the same, just moving over to the universe. But, you know, it's definitely a bold move to throw a movie like that in.
As your third movie.
It's like as your third movie.
Yeah.
But I do like the creativity. I do like the willingness to take risks here.
Right.
And I have high hopes for this.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really cool.
You know, like I've said in prior things, I don't deny I think this movie is going to be great. It's just strange its place, you know, in this setting, in this universe. And that's the, you know, kind of the only concern. I am looking forward to it. I think it is probably going to be a great movie. And I think, you know, it's going to be a cool addition. It's just strange that they put it here. And I'm a little bit skeptical.
What the word is a skeptic.
Skeptic. I'm a skeptic.
I'm a little skeptic.
I'm a little skeptic.
No, I'm a little, I don't know. I'm a little cautious.
There you go, like that. Anyway, about it, but I think it'll be good. So
yeah, all right.
See. All right, so those are the only things that have, like, at least we know they're coming out next year, 2026, and they have semi-release dates or whatever, and then Peacemaker, of course, in 2025 in August. The rest of these were announced by Gunn, but do not have official release dates.
Okay.
So we don't know if they're coming in 27 or what, or further than that. We don't really know for sure, but at least we know they're coming. Okay, so the first one being The Brave and the Bold. Now, there was rumors the last couple of weeks that have been circulating that there was rumors considering that the Batman Part 2 might be made canon to DCU and the Batman franchise and the Batman be DCU, but James Gunn has since denied those rumors and said, no, it's still Elseworlds, it's its own thing. We are still going forward with The Brave and the Bold, which I love the Batman, and I love the idea of getting the Batman universe and it staying in its own thing. However, I still think it would have been really cool. But
I know, still
nice to see it, Brave and the Bold. What do you think?
Man, I'm 100% with you. I think this movie is gonna slap. I think, you know, deep down we kind of maybe all wanted to see Robert Pattinson, but also, you know, wasn't a make or break. You know, if he wasn't included in the DCU,
the only thing it's gonna hurt is casual fans that are gonna get confused.
Exactly. So, which, you know, I don't know how many movies Matt Reeves is even planning on making.
Yeah.
For DC, like who knows? Like maybe he makes like one or two more Batman films than he's done.
Yeah.
I think that's very possible too.
Yeah.
But no, man, I'm very excited for this project. You know, if it was up to me, I wouldn't start out, you know, with a movie about Robin and Batman, but, you know, I have full confidence in it.
I wouldn't start out with Damian Wayne Robin. I would start out with like Dick Grayson or somebody like that, because we haven't got a Batman movie really with Robin besides like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Those movies suck. So we haven't really got a live action, really good representation of Batman and Robin. And I would love that. But I feel like starting with Damian Wayne, just because it's James Gunn's personal favorite, kind of makes me mad. I'm like, dude, he may be your personal favorite, everybody else is Dick Grayson. So it's like,
facts.
or Jason Todd.
Facts.
So
Jason Todd is the man.
Yeah. So I would have liked to have seen that. But we know that we're going to still get those characters just in different formats. But I'm excited for The Brave and the Bold nonetheless, and to see how it comes to be, and what we get when it comes to rumors about it as we get closer to it. All right. Other things that have been announced by Gunn is Waller. So a TV series basically surrounding Amanda Waller
She's a
in
bum.
continuation of Peacemaker season 3. This project is what I'm least looking forward to, because this feels like another scenario where James Gunn is just because he likes, what's her name that plays Waller?
Dude, I can't remember.
I should know that because she's really huge.
It's not Viola Davis, is it?
Viola Davis, yes. And just because he likes her and he likes the character of Waller is the only reason she's getting it. And I personally don't see a reason for this show. I feel like Peacemaker's a good service.
I don't either, man. I don't feel like she's worthy of
no,
this. So,
no, I don't. So,
you know,
who knows with that? I'm not really looking forward to it, but maybe it could be a sleeper pick as well, similar to Peacemaker. Another thing is another kind of monstrous movie that is in development is Swamp Thing. What are your thoughts about Swamp Thing?
I also don't know if he needs a whole movie.
Yeah, this is another risk like Clayface.
Yep. I trust in James Gunn's ability to pull this stuff off. It definitely feels odd, probably within the first, 10 years doing a Swamp Thing movie.
Mm-hmm.
A very interesting character. It had some traction with that first season, like 5 or 6 years back, but then it got canceled. But people seem to really like it. But no, I like the character Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
But Swamp Thing movie,
I don't know.
I'm a little iffy on that.
A little skeptical about it as well. So who knows? Again, it's going to be another like one of those that said it's reported to be a horror-esque film. But I guess it's just the whole thing is chapter 1 being God's monsters, Clayface, Swamp Thing falling into the realm of monsters, and the reasoning for their coming in so early, I guess, and the same with Creature Commandos. So we'll see. We'll see what comes through with that. The next thing in this movie is apparently could potentially not happen, but James Gunn did himself announce it a couple years ago, being The Authority. This is where the engineer from Superman is also supposed to appear again.
Yeah.
I personally am not a fan, and I know a lot of people are not, of The Authority in DC Comics.
Okay.
Except James Gunn, of course. Again, it's like James Gunn just wants to do what he wants to do, and that's kind of like, listen to your fans, bud. But I don't know. What do you think?
I'm not big on The Authority. I didn't even know who they were until a couple years ago.
Right.
I'm not going to act and pretend like I knew everything about them. I do agree with your point on James Gunn. I do think he loves what he loves, and he's very passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I think that's reflected in the projects that he chooses, that he tries to get greenlit. Since The Authority would be, a movie with multiple, main characters, I think that James Gunn is very adequately equipped to handle something like that.
Absolutely.
But as far as the members of the team, I can't even say I wouldn't be interested in them, because he made like a freaking person who controls rats, in Suicide Squad to be
really likable.
Very likable. So yeah, it's definitely not something, that I curl my toes over in excitement.
Right. But we know James Gunn has the tools to make it successful, because he's so good at making unknown characters love. So
exactly.
We'll see. The next thing is this was announced rather recently that a Wonder Woman movie is in development. And this is, of course, it had to be, right? She's part of the big three of the DC universe. So, of course, we already got Superman. We're going to get Batman. We have to have Wonder Woman somewhere. So I'm really excited for this, excited to see who he casts, what storylines he goes with for Wonder Woman. But this is another one of those movies that, had to happen at some point. And it had to happen also early on because of how big she is.
Exactly. I do hope they don't wait too long to introduce Wonder Woman. I think a lot of people really want to see her. Like you said, I'm also waiting just for that casting. I do think it's not a little weird. I know that they've been trying to cast for it, but
yeah,
I think Adria Arjona from Andor, I think she'll be really, really good in a role like this.
Yeah.
But no, I am excited for a Wonder Woman project. We saw how good the Wonder Woman was in the DCEU.
Yeah.
With Patty Jenkins, which I'm no diehard fan of. So I
the
can only
original.
imagine. I can only imagine how much better
this could potentially be.
This could be, yeah.
Right. And also, speaking in the world of Wonder Woman, this was announced a couple years ago being a Wonder Woman-esque show, Paradise Lost, surrounding the women of Themyscira. Like an origin kind of basis before the years of Wonder Woman, kind of about their island. Paradise Island, also known as Themyscira. So I think this could also be a cool. I heard it's going to be like Game of Thrones-esque. We've heard that a long time.
Yeah, so it's just going to be like these women on the island with no external forces, so they're just fighting amongst themselves.
I don't know if it's going to be fighting amongst themselves or fighting amongst gods, like the Ares or other things like that they kind of.
That would be a cool direction to take.
Right. I think it would be as
like
well.
Percy Jackson.
Mm-hmm. And who knows? It may be also a good way to like introduce the Paradise People of Themyscira versus the Atlantean storylines, right? That they've had such rivalries in the past. I think of Flashpoint Paradox, where Aquaman the Atlanteans were so against the people of Themyscira, the warriors of Themyscira. I wonder if that could be a potential thing, and having the Atlanteans be villains before the years of Aquaman and Wonder Woman.
Okay,
could be a potential maybe that we could see. All right, the next one that was also greenlit very recently to come out for HBO Max, but was announced a couple years ago by James Gunn, being Booster Gold.
Yeah, we've talked about this one a little bit in depth. This is officially greenlit now, so I'm excited to see who they cast.
I am too.
I am excited for this one. I feel like it's gonna be vastly different in tone than anything else we've seen before.
I feel it's gonna be a comedy, right? It's got to be. It's gonna lean into that kind of comedic aspects, but also be maybe something like a little relatable and neat to see with somebody who's like in love with these characters, like an influencer. Would be cool to see. So many people for a long time fan casted Chris Pratt. And of course, it fit because James Gunn likes to cast his friends. So, who knows if we'll see that or not with Booster Gold? But I'm excited for that nonetheless.
Okay.
Next thing is this one has been announced by Gunn, but they've not heavily talked about it. But it's going to be a movie to come out, and we're pretty sure of it anyway. That's why it's going to be mentioned here. Okay. That being a Teen Titans movie.
Oh, okay.
I think this one 100%, right?
Because that sounds going to be cool. They need it.
They need it,
man.
Right. These characters are huge. Everybody loves. I hope they go with the original. You have Robin or Nightwing, Dick Grayson. You have Raven. You have Starfire. You have Beast Boy. You have Cyborg. Right. I think all of those would be cool and kind of bring him into the DCU in this cool young Justice League kind of way. I think it'd be really cool.
I think that'd be sick. And like I said, another team up movie, so he'd be doing a very good job with that. Just maybe the humor might work too because it's a bunch of younger kids. So
yeah. So it could potentially work. Just don't make it like Teen Titans Go, please.
You didn't like Teen Titans Go?
I don't. I like the original Teen Titans, not Teen Titans Go.
Okay.
So then over also announced. Now this has not been confirmed if it's Elseworlds or in the DCU. However, James Gunn did announce it himself really recently, and that being Dynamic Duo is going to be an animated movie centered around Dick Grayson and Jason Todd.
I like that. Yeah.
I like it too. I think it's going to be cool. I don't know exactly what the storyline could be with that, but again, it's not been fully announced if it's Elseworlds or DCU. I could definitely see it being DCU, especially since in The Brave and the Bold they're going with the Damian Wayne Robin. So having like maybe a Red Hood, Jason Todd, and Nightwing, Dick Grayson working together to some sort of capacity, I think would be really cool. But I don't know. What do you think?
I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be DCU.
Yeah.
I think, we're not going to have a ton of time to really dive into Jason Todd here in the beginning. So I think that animated movie would give us more than enough of what we need.
Right.
Between a Nightwing, between a Jason Todd. I don't know. That sounds exciting to me. I do hope maybe they decide to scrap some of the art style they've used before in their DC animated movies. I'm not a huge fan of that one, but I like it, Michael. I really do.
I think so too, and I'm really excited. So these are the ones that we've at least heard about, been announced. Some of them greenlit, some of them we're not so sure about. There's also been rumors of several other plots like a Bane and Deathstroke situation or something else going on, but those are the ones at least we know for sure. Jim's going to mentioned at least once, maybe not 100% greenlit yet, but at least mentioned. That's going to be in the works and development for that. So now we're going to kind of talk about, and me and Nathan both came up with 3 different potential projects that we feel would be a great addition and needed addition for this DCU universe that we'd like to see. You want to go first?
Yes, I will. And my first, this is kind of a wild shot, and I can't really tell you how it would work. I would love to see a Batman movie after Brave and the Bold with Ra's al Ghul as the main villain.
So would you say as like a sequel, like Batman 2?
Kinda, yeah. So with what's his face? Is it Damien? Right? Yeah, who trains under Rage. I love to see Nissa get involved. I like to see some more of those family affairs. I love to see Rage threaten to take over Gotham. Not super similar to Batman Begins, but I love Rage. I was thinking about saying the Rage show. I don't know how good of an idea that is.
Rage is a cool character.
But I would absolutely love to see him in the DCU to be able to see Nissa.
I personally thought that he would be a good villain for the Brave and the Bold as kind of villain for that. I thought
So
that
maybe
would be cool.
maybe just put him there and then
Yeah.
have like those family ties with Damian Wayne and
Talia al
all
Ghul.
this stuff. So that might be a better option.
Yeah.
Would be throwing it onto there.
But even a sequel or even a League of Assassins Ra's al Ghul show.
I just love ninjas, bro.
Yeah. It would be neat. I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
All right, my first one, I'm gonna just go with the obvious pick, just because I have to for me, and that being I gotta see what James Gunn does with the Flash, right? What he does with the DCU. The Flash movie we got a couple years ago was some people liked it, but again, it's not great. You can objectively, it's not great. It has some great moments, but it has its issues, and we just haven't really good. And with Ezra Miller being not a great casting, it would be cool to see what they could do with a better casting of the Flash. I've heard rumors of James Gunn leaning towards doing a Wally West centered Flash, which I don't personally love.
Okay.
Because I'm Barry Allen guy through and through, but we'll see. I mean, as long as we get a good, well done Flash on screen, I'm going to be happy with that.
Yeah.
And I would just love to see it here.
Yeah, man. No, I'm with you. I think it's about time that they did it right,
Right.
And he has an awesome rogues gallery to pick from too. So
Yeah.
I don't feel like writing the movie would even be super duper hard.
Right.
So I'm with you on that one. My next one is a little unconventional.
Okay. That's James Gunn.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like 6 episode like miniseries. I would love for a show about Firefly. I think he could kind of fit into the monsters part of the whole theme of this phase. He's always been one of those villains that I just really admired. I think maybe just seeing his tragic upbringing, I think would be very interesting. I'm thinking like just a dark drama.
Bring Brendan Fraser back.
Yeah, really. I don't know, bro. I think like something like that would have a lot of potential.
I agree. I think that's really cool. Yeah. My next one, I have a Green Arrow project of some kind, whether movie or show. I just think Green Arrow would be so cool with these characters interacting with them. The Arrow show was great, but they kind of made him Batman instead of making him Green Arrow. They made Oliver Queen Batman.
Yeah.
And I would like to see more of a comic accurate Oliver Queen Green Arrow, somebody who's a little bit more pep in his step and a little bit more funny, but also serious when he needs to be, and just really cool archer. Would be really cool, and get him his due with these characters. And he's such a great part of the DC universe, and I think he'd be a great addition.
I'm with you, man. In my very third slot, seeing has Clayface and Swamp Thing are getting movies. It got me thinking, like, what did the villain guys see getting a movie? I do think Bane is very deserving of something like that. Obviously he's a lot bigger than both of them, maybe even combined. But I would love to see a Bane movie. Just how he went from being a regular person to turn into this absolute creature. And obviously, movies where your main character is a bad guy can be tricky to handle.
It can be.
But I'm seeing like rated R, just him unleashing on, bad guy wins. He kind of gets what he wants in the film kind of deal.
Cool.
I think it'd be cool.
I do think too, because, every single time that they've done like a villain movie, they try to make them an anti-hero to some capacity.
And it doesn't work.
It doesn't. I want a villain movie where they're villain through and through, right?
Exactly.
And they're the center scene, where the antagonist of their movie is actually the hero. I want to see something like that. Would be a cool adaptation.
That'd be cool.
That's a cool pick.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Or you have like, I don't know, you have Batman in it briefly, like hunting him down, or you're just as scared of Batman as you are of your main character, Bane.
That would be really cool.
I think that'd be cool, but yeah, I think we deserve, and I want to see like a huge Bane too. I'm talking about like
comic
juiced
accurate,
out like crazy.
Venom.
Yeah, I'm not trying to
pumped
see
up on Venom.
I'm not trying to see like a Tom Hardy like a mercenary.
Right.
I want to see like
pumped up Venom.
Yeah, like a Arkham, Origins kind of Arkham Asylum.
Not the Batman and Robin one, but not that one. But pumped up Bane would be cool. I agree.
But no, I think that'd be cool too.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe if they do greenlight that Clayface and not Clayface, if they do greenlight the Bane and Deathstroke show, you could get something like that.
Yeah, I think he could
cool.
be kind of a bridge between the monsters and men.
Yeah,
part.
that would be cool.
You
All right, my next one is a character that's severely underrated, and I feel deserves a movie or a show. One that has not gotten one, and I personally think it would fit great as an origin story, like a cosmic origin story, and that being Martian Manhunter.
Ooh, okay.
I would
I
love
like
to see, because Martin Manhunter, I mean, he's an original Justice League member, and I would love to see like an origin story of him on Mars and like his situation, maybe the White Martians involved in some capacity, and how he has to come to Earth for safe haven would be just really cool plot. I love John Jones. I think he's a great character. He does a great job with the Justice League, but we haven't really gotten him aside from like animated series in a great light. And I think it'd be really cool to see him here, an original Justice League member, and see him in a great bigger capacity, bigger role in DCU.
Yeah, man. I'm 100% with you. I feel like Martian Manhunter, like really all we've gotten to see from him is animation.
Right.
Really. So getting to see the destruction of his planet would be absolutely heartbreaking. In some like live action. But I think it would be really, really good for his viewers. I feel like, in live action, the few times we've gotten him, it hasn't been great representations.
No, we got him in Supergirl and Zack Snyder's Justice League, and that's been about it.
Exactly. Other characters. And I didn't love, either of those too terribly hard, but no, man, that'd be welcome, especially as he's like one of the big Justice League members,
right?
Especially like, I don't know, you talk about like monsters and men. It's like, well, what's Martian Manhunter,
right?
Isn't he both?
Very true. That would fit. I would like that, and see him being the good of the monsters or something like that. Would be really neat. Yeah,
I'm with it, Michael.
Yeah,
I think that's good overall. While I might not agree with some of the projects, or their certain placement within the timeline, I show full confidence, and I'm excited just to see something
different.
Different. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. It's just different than what you would expect.
I agree. In the same way, I've got concerns because the whole basis of what we really wanted when the DC was rebooting is we wanted it to be something like the MCU and kind of following that, but it's probably honestly better that they're going to do something different, be original. And even though it might be unconventional to put Clayface as the third movie or Swamp Thing this early on or some of these other series or shows, it's still, I think, going to be really successful. And I think the projects that are going to come out are going to be really amazing. And hopefully in 10 years' time, we can look back and say, well, Marvel had its prime and now DC's in its prime.
Yeah.
And DC's not gotten its prime in a long time when it comes to movies ever. I don't think, actually.
Really, yeah.
Except for Dark Knight, and that was like one, so we need a full saga of DCU Prime in the movies, and that Marvel got, in the 2010s. So I would love to see that.
Yeah,
very much in the 2020s.
Well, all right, guys. Thank y'all so much for listening to this episode. And as always, if you liked it, please let us know by giving us a download and a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. If you guys want early access to all of our episodes and exclusive access to fun episodes and additional movie reviews, feel free to subscribe to our membership Heroes HQ. We have a feature on our episodes where you can send us a text message by following the link at the bottom of our episodes. Just go ahead and shoot us a question on there if you wanted to be featured on one of our episodes. Then finally, feel free to also check out our YouTube channel and our Instagram at Heroes in the Moment.
And we just want to thank y'all for listening. And as always, we love you 3000.